Morning, Spud. I always just have a mild panic just after we do the clap to go, oh Lord, I meant to have some sort of smart and interesting opening here. And it usually just comes out, go, hello, how are you?
Yeah, I don't have much though this week. There was a bit of a traumatic event here last night. The lads have been watching, because the young one is sick, so she's at home a bit, so she gets to watch cartoons every day now, usually, instead of just a couple of times a week. But she's mad into, Ninja Go? Or Ninjago.
Yeah. Ninjago.
Supposed to be pronounced Ninjago, but I can't force myself to do it. So, spoiler alert, around season 4, the motherfuckers kill Zane. Have you got that far?
No, he doesn't like it, so we don't watch it. So.
Okay, well, he should be too young. Sure, my lads are too young for it as well. But Zane is the so there's 4 ninjas, right? And the Rego, obviously. And then Zane is a droid. He's a Nindroid, which is a pretty cool name, actually, Nindroid. And they fucking kill him off, man. And he does this amazing heroic thing, like the baddie is taking all the power from all the fucking Earth. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. And he's pushing it into Zane. And Zane has his hands fucking out like that. And he's sucking in all the power. And everyone's freaking out, going, no, he's going to die. And then the Splinter guy, the master, with the big mustache, I don't know, what's he called? What's Sensei? Whatever. He's like, no, we have to go, because we're all going to die. And he's like, yeah, but he's going to die. He's like, oh, yeah, but these are robots. Okay, it's grand. And no, he's going to die. And he sucks up all this fucking energy. And then at the last moment, just fucking Ninja Go, just kills that motherfucker with all the energy back at him, But he kills himself. He sacrifices himself. The Murphy children.
Were they okay with it? Were happy enough? They understood the bigger picture of it, yeah?
They didn't quite grasp what was going on at all. And, oh, man. I had to stay with the young lad for an extra half an hour last night, trying to explain to him that, he's not dead, he's in the computer, it's okay. And I was like getting out my phone, I was like, if I break my phone, like I can get a new phone and it's the same number. And he's like, can you? Yes, I can. I've had many phones with the same number. Wow. And yeah, but like with the droid thing, it's like his mind is somewhere else. It's just his body that's here. And I was going, oh, this is a bit esoteric now. He's not going to get this at all. And no, eventually he did get it then. But he was bawling. I was like, what the fuck are we going to do when someone important dies? Like, what if a dog dies, or someone related to us? Went with a dog first. Sorry. The other one was crying too, but she's 3. She doesn't understand. She doesn't even know she's alive. Like, she's that age. But like, the poor chap, he was heartbroken. I can understand with the younger one, because she doesn't get it, Yeah. But like she cries because he cries, and she thinks it's the thing to be done. But he was heartbroken. I felt so sorry for him. And I was like, no, he's alive. And like today, we have to have an event like that. We're going to watch the next episode, because I'm sitting there googling it, and I'm going, they didn't fucking kill him.
And does he come back? Like.
Yeah.
He does. All right. Okay. Yeah. But it's obviously
he was living in the computer. Like, I mean, even at the show closed with like him talking to one of the other characters, like, I'm in the computer and I am here. I am blah blah blah. But they didn't register with them at all. Like, poor things. God, you're hard to go out to them,
But of course, it is indoctrinating them into the whole, that AI is, a lower class of being than human, and should always commit suicide in order to save the humans. Get that in early for the robot revolution. That's definitely going to happen in their lifetime, not ours. Thank God. Yeah, we'll escape that one. But kids will have to deal with the AI destruction. And all that. Yeah, it is like, I don't know, like it's like, it must be the most devastating thing ever to realise that, I'm going to die, your parents going to die, everyone you know is going to die. I can remember my mum saying it to me, something about it, and that she was going to die, but it'll be a long time away. So I have a vague kind of recollection of realising, oh shit, oh no. But and it's worse because because kids, when you're a kid, you think your parents know everything, or adults know everything, and then you go, well, what happens when you die? Nobody knows. Oh no, oh come on. Have you not been around for 120,000 years? I've no idea what's going on yet. Come on.
Surely somebody knows. Like, at least, like, there must be one person who has come back.
Well, there's a number of people a number of people who claim to know what happens, surely. But funny enough, they all seem to have their own personal agenda around it. That's very strange. Very strange. But
that's rather strange. All right, yeah. Even with because I know we've done it with some of the documentaries, the near-death experiences and stuff. People seem to come back with a similar enough kind of story, but it's only. Yeah, it's the bit that happens after that bit that no one seems to know what happens,
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by the Hessian thing, the Orthodox Church idea of the seven spheres. Who's older, the Gnostics or the Orthodox? No, where would that idea have come from? Doesn't matter. The seven spheres.
Well, the seven
I think it's a
spheres
good idea, but
yeah, it's a Greek thing, isn't it? Seven spheres.
Yeah, but sure, they stole everything. They didn't come up with anything.
All right, okay. Yeah.
Even Empedocles, fuck you.
Yeah.
He came up with nothing,
Yeah, even
nothing.
his 4 elements. Yeah, they were kind of about before then, no?
Yeah, everyone kind of knew about all that anyway. You know what I mean? Like the Kingsley book, like the whole book is like Empedocles is great. Empedocles is great. He's so great. He kind of learned everything off the Pythagoreans, but that doesn't matter because he's great. He's so awesome. What?
Yeah.
Okay, whatever, dude.
He's my HGA, which he admits in the new book, essentially.
Peter Kingsley is your HGA. Oh, God.
Yeah. Imagine Peter Kingsley was your HGA. You just go, no thanks, I'm all right. Look after myself. Yeah. Just every now and again, you're just sitting there going, whatever. Just like, imagine Kingsley was I would have finished this thought. Imagine Kingsley was your HGA and you're just sitting there going, what's going on? And just you hear this voice in your head going, I'm the greatest. I'm the only person who knows everything. I'm the chosen one. Yeah. Thanks, HGA. Is there any chance that maybe help? No. Only I know the answers to all these. All you fools out there who know nothing. And scholars, they got all of this wrong.
You will only learn through strife. That's all. That's all I can tell you. No help. No. Strife. Yeah. More strife. Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking to someone we had obviously talked about Kingsley and so someone had left a comment on YouTube about Kingsley and they're saying that they really enjoyed the new book and I was going, I didn't. And I was just going to self-aggrandizing and misanthropy is just too much for me. But like that whole standard thing of, but wouldn't it be shitty if we all enjoyed the same thing and all came from the same perspective? And they were kind of saying,
maybe, except. I mean, then imagine how awesome the chocolate would be all over the world. Instead of you go to Switzerland and it's the best chocolate in the world, but then you go to Slovakia and it's like, what the fuck is this? Is this what you call chocolate? What the fuck?
But
they've eaten this.
Did they like it though?
The Slovakians, don't mind them. They have a clue, don't mind them.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they like it. It's what I like, right? That's all that matters. But so
they have... Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go on.
They have some of that here. Do you remember? It always that Friends episode of Mocklet. It always comes to mind.
Yeah.
Because every now and again, Aga's or my father-in-law will buy this crappy chocolate and you give it to the kids and you'll eat one of them and you just go, oh, that's what Mocklet is. That has to be Mocklet. And then Aga will be, that's the chocolate kind of chocolate we have in communism. It's like, it's not chocolate like.
Is that made from carob or something like that, isn't it?
I don't know what the hell. It's
made from dirt from the garden. That kind of
I didn't say that now. You get me in trouble. But it's just, it's weird because it's just not nice. It's not sweet. It's not. Well, chocolate doesn't have to be sweet. It's just not. It's not nice. Chocolatey enough to be chocolate. It's just. It's very. Do you remember we had those? Was it macaroon bars? Remember them?
Yeah.
And they were like a cheap, crappy chocolate, a bit like that.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Or the Easter egg that your granny would get you from the pound shop. That
there you
kind
go.
Of stuff.
That's the one. Yeah. The pound shop Easter egg. Yeah. Mir, tell me more about the book, then. What's wrong with it? There's
nothing wrong with it. It's. Let me see. So you have to weigh up, do I want to spend a week talking to people about this or not? And I'm just so, I probably not. So if you PM me, give it out. Leave me alone.
About Kingsley, don't
bother. What I found you see, first of all, I have to say I have a lot of time for Kingsley in many ways and what he does. I've less time for him as a person. And his kind of style and stuff like that. So it's not necessarily the content. I'm not ever disagreeing with his kind of research and stuff, only because I don't know any better. Okay, I first learned most of my stuff that I know about Greeks from Kingsley, who spends most of his time saying that everyone else is wrong. I was going, well, I don't know. I've never heard of these people you're saying are wrong, nor have I looked into it. So I'm only, getting your word for it. Apart from, I did do that course that you sent me about Empedocles and Parmenides up to Plato that was a Corsa one or something. Anyway, they obviously disagreed with Kingsley entirely. But what I get out of it is someone who has fallen for the trap of the chosen one thing that I've talked about a million times. That this very first kind of movement of when you get into doing these things, that's part of the Western magical tradition or mystical tradition or any of these things, that it seems to be one of the very early things that happen to people is there's some sort of form of feeling chosen, that they're on a special mission, that they are more chosen than the rest or whatever. And it's like it's a notable thing that happens, and he seems to have gone, grand, brilliant, this is for me, you know. And he kind of has very kind of standard things that happen to him that should be expected given this type of work, although he seems to think they're amazing and that he's the only one who's not the only one, but it's that it's much more, it seems to be about him, that it makes him, elevates him rather than, you know, this is, well, like, you know, so he meets his HGA or whatever, his helper or whatever it is that in his room, and you know, then he notices that there's a smell that he also associates. Just like, I have that. Yeah.
That's normal. Yeah.
That's normal. That's a standard thing. That's
well,
you know,
maybe we shouldn't say it's normal, but like that's
it's normal if you're doing this type of work. You know, that's to be it's to be expected. If you were doing this stuff, that's to be expected.
Sure.
And then it's called, I don't know. It's this argument from divinity which I can't have, because it's like, you can't disagree with me because the goddess told me or Empedocles told me, and I've stuff revealed to me that you haven't revealed to you, and so therefore you have to believe me. So fine, that may be true. No good to me at all. You know, because there's another guy over here saying exactly the same thing but disagreeing with you, and there's a million people over the other side who follow a church that completely disagrees with you, and they have the same kind of outlook, and they, you know, that it's in the Bible, so it's true, and it's the same, you know, it's an appeal to authority. It's exactly that argument, only you're adding a divinity to it so that it's unquestionable. You know, it's the guru thing that I just, you know, if you're true and if it's right, then it should be self-evident, or it shouldn't have to be believed just because you said God told you, okay. Right? Yeah, that's so.
Yeah. There's a guy who shared it. Max shared it, an old video of Chapman, wasn't it, a while ago? And he said something brilliant near the end. He's like, all gurus are primates, and I love that. Yeah. You know, he was just making
the Vinya Gupta video, isn't it? That one. Where they're sitting on it, the guy he's talking to is it Vinya, who they're just talking around, passing the phone to each other. Yeah.
Some Scottish guy is interviewing him, yeah. Mm. And yeah, and he was making an argument in it, like, you know, the guru, you shouldn't. Yeah, exactly what you were saying. You know, you don't have to just go with the guru because that's what he says. Like, the guru should just help you teach to get to where he is. You know, and he also mentioned like. The other fella, your man I don't like, what's his name? Adida. He's saying exactly the same thing. You know, Adida's a piece of shit, like, you know, which he was. It's a terrible person. But spiritually, you know.
Oh, guy we've talked about before, Trumpera, whatever his name is, I can never pronounce it. The alcoholic, you know, the crazy wise guy, crazy wisdom guy. So pedophilia allogate have come out there. There's a whole new podcast all about. I haven't listened to it. I haven't but it was brought up on Reddit yesterday, and I just marked it to have a listen to that. But like French kissing 12-year-old girls and stuff like this that's as far as I got without going right. I'll actually spend some time and look into that. But I mean, it's like that's the problem, isn't it? Right? You know, and there's that. I've started watching the Netflix thing, which is about John of God, which is the Brazilian healer guy. And you know, like the Oprah Winfrey went to him, you know, had to sit down. His energy so immense. Wayne Dyer, when he was dying, his big thing, he went over to John of God, and so it's really slow documentary. It's like there's 6 parts to it, and like they're an hour long. And like the first one, I only got through the first one, and it's setting it up, and you're kind of going, "Oh, right, okay, right, come on," you know. But but it's trying to be even-handed, I suppose, where it's kind of going, here's all this good science, you know. But you can at the background, you're just waiting for, you know, the string quartet to come in, dun 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 dun. It's all right, but really. So what I know, he channels people. I wasn't aware of that he channels like. King Solomon is one of the things. He challenged this doctor I assume, he's probably from Atlantis or something. That's me. I'm not sure if he is, but he looks from his portrait to be not from around here. Let's that way. And a couple of other people. But he never did it for money, as far as I know. But I also have heard people have paid an awful lot of money to go and see him. So I don't know what stories are true. But they certainly see that he was brought into a particular town in Brazil, and it became a huge tourist thing. So there's a lot of money coming into the town. He seemed to get friendly with the mayor. So there's some, but like, so what? I think people, if you're a healer, I think you're okay charging people. I don't have an issue with that anyway. I suppose I have an issue with people saying they don't charge people if they are secretly charging for the good stuff or something like that. Again, not saying that's what John of God does. But then it's kind of, towards the end of it, they start going, I was here because my granny had cancer, and then he looks at me and goes, "Oh, you're a medium, you should join my team." And when you come into, the back room, he goes, "Oh, no, it's your turn to heal me." Opens his zip, opens his trousers. Yeah, no, all right, okay. So that's kind of how the first episode ends. Allegedly. I have no first-hand information. It's all.
No, but he's dead. You can say what you want about dead people.
Is he dead? I don't think he is dead. Is he? I thought he was.
Is he not? Well, then he can't. No, be careful. Yeah.
Well, he was definitely alive recently. Although that's the best I can say. Maybe he's dead. I don't know. Maybe. Well, I suppose why is the Netflix documentary doing it now? But not to say I had to go back to Kingsley. I'm not saying Kingsley does this at all. I don't know how I ended up in that. Because we went from Adida to Chumpra.
He's a difficult. I think with Kingsley, my problem with him is that I want to like him more than I like him, more than I'm able to at the minute.
Yeah, so do I. That's it exactly. Yeah,
he obviously knows what he's on about, but at the same time, he's just so gatekeeper-ish about everything.
Yeah.
And like the book. Look, I'm still only on the first book. I think I have 50 pages to go or something like that, which means that 49 of them will be notes or whatever. But like, it's just
49 of them will be going. Oh, only I know about this.
Just the way he does the footnotes is really annoying. It's not the normal way of doing them. Like, it's really annoying. Like he'll mention something, and instead of going into it, he'll just put a footnote instead of explain it. And it's like, well, just fucking explain it, man. See, there's a very simple rule to writing. Treat your readers like they don't know what you're talking about, And he doesn't do that. He really doesn't do that, But
he also has a disdain for his reader, I find, as well, which I don't
like. Yeah. He hates us. He hates people who he thinks aren't as smart as him.
Yeah. Definitely. Which is everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, which is everyone, yeah. It's the book has really put me off him. So
this is the thing that I found about this book of life is that, because you asked me, did you get anything from it? I go, yeah, I did. It completely and utterly dissolved the final kind of illusion of Peter Kingsley as I don't know, whatever.
You've read all the fucking books.
No, I haven't read the one you've read. I got halfway through and got bored, so I didn't. But only because at that point I was going, this is stuff you've talked about before. It's the same. And his new book as well, if you've listened to any of the audio tapes or his lectures or whatever, there is literally no new stories in this. They're all in those audio. There's no new stories. There's no new revelations.
See, I was expecting a book a bit like Magia, where it's a teaching of, how to, because it was become enlightened or
no, it's not. It's a autobiography, pretty much. More than it's all. Well, people really like the new book.
But you know what I mean? No, but you know what I mean? Like, there's so many bloody. I don't know. I'll give you a football example. Like, do you want to read like a biography about Jose Mourinho, or would you rather read the book about his football tactics that made him such a successful manager? I'd rather read option B there, to be honest.
Yeah. But sometimes I do like the behind the scenes stuff, like, but only like say the Metallica, but then there's some kind of monster or whatever that's called, and go, that's really interesting, but it's them recording the album, it's the process, it's all of that.
Cutting Stunts was better though.
But that's what I'm saying. It's only interesting because I like Metallica. You know what I mean?
Sure, of course.
That's so. If Metallica was only just documentaries about people shouting at each other, you know what I mean? I'm not that interested. Although it will still be a but that's reality TV. Then that's essentially what it is. It's Metallica without actual music.
Yeah. Do you know what kind of sucks as well? Is that, like, you see there's so many people that we know, like, and respect in this kind of spirituality world who are massively into Kingsley, but then you pick up something and you read it or listen to yourself and you're just like, it just doesn't hit, and you're like,
but the problem is the response there is that you're not evolved enough to understand it, or that you can't,
fucking suck my balls. You can't say that to people. What the fuck?
But that's it, or you just don't understand, or, next time, that on the 12th time you read reality, you'll truly get it, or whatever.
No. I'm not buying that. That is just so dismissive and it's just hard. What the fuck?
It's elitist, and it's also egotistical in the sense that it's putting yourself in a pedestal of... It's essentially doing what Kingsley does. Is it's that kind of... it's gatekeeping, or not gatekeeping, it's the thing of... It's arguing from divinity again. It's like you haven't had the awakenings I've had, so therefore you can't understand the greatness of Peter Kingsley.
That's nonsense. Look, I understand everything in the book. I can read sentences. I can understand words when they're together in that form sentences, that form paragraphs, that form chapters, that form books. Grand. But if someone just doesn't tickle your fancy, then doesn't. What the fuck? You can't do anything. You can't force yourself. It's just like me reading Crowley. I've spoken about this enough. I just can't get to like him, and I don't think I ever will. So there's no point. There's other teachers and other people who say the same things in different languages, and they're far more sounder. Not that Kingsley's a sound. Maybe that's a bad example. Kingsley seems like a decent chap. Except for this kind of gatekeepery.
Egomaniac
thing that's
misanthropic.
I don't know.
Megalomania. Yeah, it's because the way I was reading it was going like back in the day when there was only a certain amount of books you could get in Ireland to do with spirituality. Before there was like you would pick anything, and there'd be any number of books where it was like Jim goes to the Middle East, or Jim goes to India and learns this, and it's his kind of autobiography, or like Sarah goes to I don't know, to the North Africa and learns it. And it's like just kind of someone's nice little story through their life where they met their grandmother when they were 4, who had been dead for 400 years, or whatever the timeline exactly is. And you can write that's it. So to me, the Book of Life was that level of something. It's that kind of quaint little story about someone who thinks they're way more important than they actually are. That he's his timeline is kind of Empedocles, Parmenides, Plato fucks everything else, Aristotle certainly needs to be shot. Carl Jung, Peter Kingsley. That's it. There's like, but I suppose the thing, it's interesting because I'm finishing John Higgs' book on William Blake, which is just John Higgs is the master of placing people in context of what's going on. So it's like not only do you learn about William Blake, you learn about all the things that influenced him, what the world was like at the time, what was the general consensus of people's view. In the same way that the KLF book. It's not about the story the KLF's in it, but you learn everything about Chaos Magic to Alan Moore, to Grant Morrison, to Robert Anton Wilson. It's everything in context, whatever. But there's a bit at the end where William Blake is writing one of his books, and he goes, this book is not for people now. It is for future generations, and it's for people who will... And I'm going, that's interesting. But Higgs was making the point of, but he's right, because in his time he wasn't, he sold 9 books in his day, or something like that, and it was like not, and it was only years later.
This is the thing with Kingsley, is that because everyone says he's so interesting and so good and this is why I want to like him. It's kind of like, someone tells you, I don't know, listen to, I don't know, Grateful Dead or something, and you're like, yeah, they're alright.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, you didn't like them? They're alright,
the grand. That's exactly it. It's Pink Floyd for me. It's like, I like what I hear, but I'm not, I'm going to put on Biffy Clyro. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to... If I'm in a room and you're listening to Pink Floyd, I could probably get into it and have a good time. But, that's fine. But, one of the things I also found about the Peter Kingsley thing, which really annoyed me, was that people would be arguing about him who haven't actually read his books. And it's just certain things...
I've only read one now.
Fine, but I'm not... It's like a general thing. And I think that's more than just Kingsley, though. But it's like... I don't know, I find that very frustrating in that there's an expertise level that people have around Kingsley, who then you find out later that they didn't even read the books, or that it's secondhand, it's coming from something else, or it's coming from, I suppose, someone else's interpretation of it, or just the audios or something. But I mean, the thing is, I've literally listened a number of times to every lecture the man has ever put out on his website, all his videos, and I've read all his books for half of his first one. So it's not as if I don't know what I'm talking about. It's not that I haven't spent hours and hours in Peter Kingsley's head or whatever. But so it's like, and maybe I don't understand it. Maybe he's on such a different level. But I don't know. I can spend half an hour with Rupert Spira and learn more about the universe than I can from Kingsley, in fairness.
That's it. I mean, Spira and Kastrup, they're the ones really. Well, I think they're fucking kind of game changers in all this. Yeah. You know what I mean? They're so, both of them, like Spira's just so calm and so good with his words about explaining things. Like he takes, you see the answering question stuff. He takes pretty hard questions and he's just able to deconstruct them into, right, what are you actually asking here? Is it this? Yeah. And they'll say yes or no. Like, he's good like that. He doesn't, like, some people are just like, like a politician. Well, is this what you're asking? And then they'll spiel off some bullshit.
Because it's like, the actual question they want to talk about, not the one they're asking.
Yeah, exactly. But he actually gets to the root of the question, finds it and says, right, well, so this is what you want, isn't it? And they'll say, yeah. And eventually they'll say, yeah. And yeah, it's just great at. And then Kastrup
and never once Spira, and I've never seen him, and I've listened to enough of him, will he argue from a point of going, when you awaken you will understand this, or you just don't understand it from where, like, he says similar words, but he'll never let the person go until he has explained the thing. He never kind of lets it off. Well, I know this, and someday you will find the truth or whatever. But
that's true actually. Yeah.
Like he'll sit with the person until, and like even there's one video I put up recently, I was watching recently, I don't know if I shared, where one is going, all right, I understand, and he goes, I'm not finished because I don't think you do understand, and then at the end he goes, all right, now I actually do understand.
I think I know the one you're talking about. It's in front of a yellow curtain, isn't he? There's a flower. It's an American lady, I think, or a Canadian lady. North American, we'll say.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, man, Kastrup is good too, because he's a bit more, I suppose you could say, flowery with his language, even though Spira's very, 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 very good with the old letters into words thing that he does. Speaking, I mean.
Speaking,
But what I like about Kastrup is he's so fucking passionate about it. He really gets into it, like, and he kind of... He has a good way of arguing against, say, like materialism and stuff like that, and he gets kind of passionate about. But he's Brazilian. He's going to, he gets wound up. I understand what that's like. But
and to give the John Vervaeke interview with on Kurt Jamalji's whatever name that's meant him.
No, that's like how that's. They're against each other. How did they not?
Well, they're not. It's kind of it's done really well. He has a name for it, and I can't remember. It's the opposite of a debate. It's kind of a thing. It's like a coming together is the thing. Oh. And the two of them obviously disagree on fundamental things, but the two of them are like. I mean, John Vervaeke is brilliant too. It's without conceding and without just going, oh yes, we're all real friends here, arguing the fucking point big time in a really respectful manner, and then when they can't agree at the end, it's just like, well, okay, and I respect and understand why you have your opinion. And it's like there's one point where John just does get a bit much into it. He kind of has to pull himself back a bit, but it's a bit of a laugh around it. But those things, they're like 78 hours, whatever. All of his podcast. It's the latest one with Leo Guara, whatever his name is. I'm halfway through it, and it's 7.5 hours. Like that's like but it's brilliant. He should just release the transcripts. But again, probably to finish in this, because we swore at least 3 months ago that we were never even going to mention Kingsley on the podcast again. But here we are. It's the cultishness around him that I find very hard to deal with around, and it's like the feverish. It's this sort of kind of thing people have around him, that it's like as if he can do no wrong. He's been kind of saint-hooded, but also like. Yeah. The divine kind of level of where, like, even to the point of when they disagree with him, they still kind of agree with him. So it's a very strange.
It's very bizarre. It is bizarre. Yeah. Plus, as well, like, I mean, to say this in like a nice way, and it isn't going to sound nice. Like, he's a nobody. Like, no one has a clue who he is outside of the people who are his fans. He's never going to make a ripple in any other. Like, for example, chap we're talking about last week, Be Here Now, Ramdas. Ramdas massive. Fucking massive. So he is. He's way bigger than I thought he was. He's fucking huge.
Huge. Big name.
Peter Kingsley's got like 200 followers on Twitter or something, and 1,000 people on Facebook. Like, he's just... And shut up. No. Just like... It's exactly what you're saying. It's the cultish stuff as well.
Yeah, I really like Kingsley, but it's like not in the elevator. He's a firmly mid-tier magician, if you want. Like, I mean, he's not my top. He's definitely not rubbish, but he's there. He's somewhere in the middle, grand.
Yeah, but look, he's not okay. As much as I don't like Crowley, he's still fucking in the top.
Yeah,
However,
sure, exactly. Yeah,
he's no Crowley, he's no Gurdjieff. No. I wouldn't even put him. I'd say Chapman and Barford would be higher than him.
Oh yeah, absolutely too. Yeah. Although I mean, Chapman idolizes him. Maybe that's the wrong word, but he says no wrong. Hasn't disagreed with anything Kingsley said, even though he does, because he disagrees with the predeterminism that Kingsley has. So I don't know. It's like, but I think much quicker take Alan over him.
There's another. See what this in the card today. I knew this would come up as well because like, I always try to be aware. Like, am I projecting something onto this fella here? Because like. When I hear the lectures and stuff like that and his interviews, I just kind of what comes to mind quickly is like this kind of post-colonial shadow of Britain collapsing, really. And just when I hear him talk, that I just can't help but hear that. So I have to ask myself then, am I putting that onto him?
Right. Yeah. Like, I mean, if he was French and said exactly the same thing, would you have that?
I wonder. Yeah. I don't know. I really don't know. No. But then again, like there really aren't that many spiritualists out there. Apart from there's one fellow who's been popping up on my YouTube. Maybe I'll open it and see if he pops up. Who is also a kind of a doomsdayer. Right. Now Kingsley isn't a doomsdayer in that, like, the foreman in the apocalypse. He's not that. He's just
but it's
the doomsday of the end of this culture.
Because we fucked up and we're shitty, and we did it wrong, and we got it all wrong, and we just he never goes as far as we deserve, but like kind of, this isn't, we had a chance to do something here, and look, just petty humans, and now we have to let it all go. But I mean, there's no point spending much more time on this. No. Castro has a great article about why Kingsley is wrong about that. Yeah, and I would say Kingsley for me is on the same kind of level of Poundland Peterson, Jonathan Pajot, which I thought was brilliant. Who was it who said that on?
Was it Joey? I think it was Joey. Was it?
Yeah, brilliant. Poundland Peterson. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, so that's kind of like interesting. Kind of, but it's something mental, ego-wise going on there, and but has like. Pajot some great stuff to say about symbolism, no matter what. Like, he goes a bit far sometimes, but he has some insights, all that kind of stuff. Grand, it's he's just another name that
I think I have a good way to put it. That I think because me and you were on the same page with him, and it's like we were watching. There was a Jamie Wheel video where he was criticizing Wilbur, Ken Wilbur, because he had been such a big part of the integral stuff with Wilbur. Yeah. Before that all fell apart with him getting sick and all that. Like, Wilbur's such a terrible judgy character, isn't he? He had Addy there. Yeah. He had, who else did he have? Roshi. Your man Gimpo Roshi. Yeah, but Gimpo Roshi was only having affairs. That's not too bad, really. It's not kids.
Yeah, but it was in like 6 months of everyone fucking up. There's a load of people just going, oh really, this is insane.
There was that other fella, the chap from Israel, who did awful things as well. He's spoken about in the First Baptist Head book. The lads went to see him. He was a total rag as well.
What's his name? Yeah. I know you're on.
Yeah. Well, anyway. Yeah. So Jamie Wheel had a great thing about.
Look at my books. Yep, I know you're on.
Yeah, Jamie Wheel had a great thing about integral.
Andrew Cohen.
Cohen, that's it. Yeah, Andrew Cohen. Yeah. So Jamie Wheel had a great thing about integral. He's like, read the books, learn it, close the books, forget you learned it.
Yeah.
And I think this is like that. Okay, maybe not forget you learned it, but it's like, okay, read the books. I would say, read Kingsley,
enjoy it, close the book, don't join the cult. That's all. That's it. That's my definitely read the book.
Man, the other fella I'm thinking of, it is on my fucking algorithm. It really wants me to watch this fella. Shunya Murti, you know him?
No, well, unless
he's a doomsdayer. He's a doomsdayer of a spiritualist. It's not really direct path. I think he's a yogi. Yeah, Sat Yoga Institute is the name of the channel. He's big news, but he's a doomsdayer. There's some sex stuff about him as well, I read. So yeah, avoid. Who am I to tell you what to listen to now? I'm not going to gatekeeper, but it's just from the experiences I have of people to listen to. I just rather listen to someone who doesn't It doesn't touch.
Well, I tell you, I've kind of had
non-consenting people. You know?
I've had kind of not a revelation because not in a big thing. It's just kind of my thoughts come together a bit more on the kind of non-dual stuff in regards to the world is a dream, the world is an illusion, Maya, all of that kind of stuff. And it's like, I mean, it's fairly obvious, but you know, all of these things, and then you go, oh yeah. Rather than just say it in your head, you go, all right, there's an understanding of it. And it's just, I think my problem was I wasn't being non-dual enough. And you know, it was kind of still in a duality of, you know, why is this place considered an illusion or whatever, and why would God do this? What you know? And I can only think of it, you know, either the one is it's a trap, it's our mistake, like the Course in Miracle one, where we somehow made a false conclusion about God and hid in this thing, or you know that we've you know, that's the fall, or if it's the Christian thing that you know we fucked up by you know wanting to be like God, which is essentially what the Christian thing is, even though it's, I don't know, sometimes told it's to do with sex, or sometimes it's told to do with, any amount of things. They can't seem to make their mind up exactly what the apple represents. But it's kind of, and then it's from coming out of the Peter Kingsley book and kind of where he's going, like he has, let me say, I was going to say use the word audacity. I don't mean it. It's not quite that. Where he's kind of saying, we have fucked up in a sense, and there was a chance and civilization, and then it's going right. But who exactly did? If I'm God, right? It's Kingsley suggesting that I and civilization as God have fucked up and got it wrong. In that, you know, like, and then it was kind of clicking. It was going like, how can a tree or how can a forest have such kind of impact on me if all of this is illusion, or it's you know a mistake or a dream or anything like that? And then I went, you dickhead, you know, you're still doing duality. The tree is God. You are God. All of this is God. Everything is. Mm-hmm. It's not. And I was still separating it between God somewhere doing a thing that this is like where Earth is, or whatever. You know what I mean? And it's kind of, oh no, all of it. All of this is God. All of it, or divine, or awareness, or being, or whatever. It's the whole thing, and it's kind of like that's going. Yeah, no, I really like that. That kind of allows all of the kind of problems or interjections I had about it. To kind of that can all sit in there, and it's kind of like there's still a few where I don't get it. But I mean, there's a thing that I kind of realised that I'm probably going to die not getting it all or understanding it. I'm certainly going to die not having read all the books I want to read. You know, so there's going to be a point where you kind of have to go, oh well, I did my best here and tried, you know. But to allow that maybe. Not that you can't understand it, but maybe it's you know it's a mystery. It's not meant to be understood, you know. But it's kind of so still see how much duality I still have, given even that you know like the awakening experience where I recognize the whole thing. But it's like you can fall back into it, you know, and which is why I think we've discussed probably off air. That it seems like a continuum thing no matter what, like you know that there's no kind of point where you go maybe there is, maybe it's further down the line and someday I'll go oh no I know it all and only future generations will understand my blog posts obviously at that point, but that's fine. But yeah, so it's really interesting. It's kind of so it's in that it's, and Spyra is great on the whole illusion thing. He's really good on it because it's saying it's like right, illusion's the wrong word, and it's kind of there's a separation between what people were saying, you know, what classically what illusion was and real and stuff like that, and it's kind of got all muddled in together or whatever, and it's in it, and that it's now, while it's a dream, that it doesn't count, that it's not, you know, and he says, no, it absolutely counts. And I suppose people like Leo Guerra, whatever, I can't pronounce his name, the baldy guy on YouTube is, you know, 1.5 million subscribers. It was really good. I beginning to like him again once I can get past again this kind of
God thing.
Yeah, and the seeming egotistical thing, and he like right, okay, right, let's go with it. It's, you know, as I say, everyone's problematic in some way. So if that's his problematic thing, grand. I can certainly deal with that. And it's just the way he's kind of talking about it, and it's like, no, it's not a mistake. It's not, you know, it's consciousness or being or awareness or whatever. This is what it does. You know, and it's evolving and it's moving and it's trying to work it all out, and it's and that's such much more satisfying than. I had a look at God and went, no thanks. I'm going to create this world of pain. Get away from you.
I think my idea of is that it's working itself out. I think Castro argues that there's a goal that it's heading towards. I'm not totally convinced of that yet.
So does Joe Rogan. He reckons that humanity's spiritual goal is to create AI. That's the whole. That's what the larvae of humanity is.
Fucking moron! I can't believe I used to listen to his podcast. Jesus Christ!
It was top tier in its day. Like, where else were you getting any of this stuff? So it's easy to look back.
He did have a lot of amazing guests there for a while.
I suppose you can do pre-Texas and post-Texas Rogan.
Yeah. I'm not so sure about that, because I still have that belief that our reality of the time and space is just like for whatever is next up the scale. It's like Grant Morrison's comic book. They can open it at any page and just kind of see what's happening. You can start anywhere in the book, kind of thing. So, well, then you could also argue, okay, so that thing that's on that next level, well, then that does actually know the end, and it's just waiting for us to work towards that. Yeah. Maybe. But then again, how many times you pick up a comic book and you don't know the end?
Yeah. So, or I mean,
it's one or the other.
We can't fathom infinite anything. From a limited point of view. So, like, if something that's always happened and always will happen, and it's always happening at the same time, all this kind of, because time doesn't exist. It clearly does exist, even from a scientific point of view. Things sometimes seem to appear in relation to each other, but. Imagine what it's like outside time, where simultaneously everything, or not simultaneously is even a function of time. So it's not even that. It's not even happening simultaneously. None of that. But yeah, so it's great. It's kind of clear. It kind of turns everything into divinity, every single thing, and that's awesome. I really, really like that, because it really makes me feel more in touch with it, rather than feeling that. Because the other thing that was kind of Alan Watts, and it's not his, I understand, but it's where it came from, where he's going, it's a game of hide and seek. And so if God is playing a game of hide and seek, then isn't it wrong to awaken? Because you're breaking the game. God wants to play hide and seek, so why are you spending all your time trying to come out of the game? And I'm going, well, that seems ridiculous.
It's like getting to the last level of Donkey Kong, isn't it? And going, I don't want to finish this. It's going to be over.
Or it's going, if the game is, I want, it's like, so to wake up to it, it's a game, then why play the game? The game is to fool yourself, and you go, right, well then, in that theory, then you should keep fooling yourself, or not look, don't look at the man behind the curtain or whatever. So I didn't like that. And also, it as I said previously, it kind of negates how intensely painful life is for us, and much more for other people or whatever. It's kind of, it's game hide and seek, and don't take that, all that. No, I think, but like if this is kind of the process of awareness, being aware of, being creative, like we would be doing on a smaller scale what divinity or awareness is doing on the bigger scale, and it's creating, expressing, trying to I don't know, love, and to to the most part. I mean, I know there's people on the planet who are trying to do the opposite, but I assume most people are still, even if they're doing something kind of bad from our point of view, are still trying to express what they think is goodness and right, and power or whatever, and it's just all kind of, rather than, and within that, so then the suffering within that is, rather than it's, you don't realize that it's suffering doesn't exist or whatever, that's part of the mechanism of it.
Yeah.
Rather than saying, it's suffering doesn't exist. No, it does. It does. That's how you do this. That's part of it. And if you weren't aware of suffering, you'd be dead really, really quick. Because if you hadn't that kind of cognizant idea of there is death, there is suffering, there's
danger and death.
Stay away from that. Walk towards that. All it's like an inbuilt. Yeah. It's just the problem is when it's unfair. It's when the person hasn't brought it on themselves, when it seems random, when I assume sometimes it is random, when things, but it's because you're part of a system, you're part of a bigger thing. That's kind of where I'm at. I mean, like, you can point to loads of bits where that falls apart, and that's not. But it's kind of, I'm enjoying, because that so far fits more of my experience. Then it's all a dream, wake up, doesn't matter, illusion. All that stuff.
I'd like to know more about people who talk about this stuff from like the perspective of, say, like animals, or say people who have proper mental difficulties and all. Like, what's their function? Isn't the right word. That's horrible. That sounds dismissive. I don't mean function, because if consciousness and being is learning by knowing itself. Well, then, what's it like to be learning with these kind of disabilities? You know, being an animal, you can't talk, you can't express, you can't make art, you can't write a fucking song. You know what I mean? Like, whereas we're all hoity-toity going, I'm so creative, I can write a song and I can be at one with God and G, C, D, and then D minor, and you're like, ooh, I like that, it's sad. Sad songs for the rest of the time.
Saddest of all keys.
But then, of course, like, if you're, you know, I don't know, if you have a proper mental difficulty and you're born that way, like, all this stuff about consciousness and being, you know, that's not fucking any good to you,
that's the thing,
is it?
you know, like, it's because people say that our brains are a radio transceiver of something, you know, rather than it creates consciousness or whatever. Then people go, well, what happens to someone who's brain damaged, right? And you go, and they're not getting the full signal. And you go, right, yeah. Then who is the person? Is it the signal, or is it the person who's... And if you're saying, well, it's not really the person because they're not picking up the signal because they have an injury, then you're kind of going, you're dehumanizing this person. That's not good.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
You know, I mean, so if you can't get the full signal, then there's a shell or something, you know, it's like... I'm sure anyone who's spent any time with, you know, someone who's had a brain injury and stuff like that would, you know, while they would say they're not the same person, their essence, you know, the thing to a point. I mean, I'm sure people can be, you know, absolutely, you know, in states of vegetableness, but they even, I don't know, to say that they're not the right person or they're less or something. I don't have the words to describe what I'm pointing out, but it's like,
yeah, no, because look, I mean, you don't want to say the wrong thing here. It's a touchy subject, for
exactly
anyone.
that.
But like, you know, it's, I would, but maybe this is probably why the spiritualist teachers don't fucking touch with a barge pole, because they're afraid of getting cancelled or something. But I don't know. Like, it's I think it's not easy, but I think it's for someone like Spira and Kastrup to speak about consciousness and beingness and all this awakening stuff. That's fine for people who are on the road and have somewhat of an understanding of it to get it, you know?
Yeah.
But like, how do you explain beingness and consciousness to, from the perspective of other, you know, animals, entities, whatever, who don't have the full capacities that we're fucking lucky enough to have, like.
Yeah.
Well, answers on a postcard, please, to Spud Murphy, Poland. Right?
Are animals aware of being aware? Well, I doubt it. But I don't know. I don't know what the inner life of my dog is at all.
I think so. I think it's an argument that they are, because they know what danger is and stuff like that.
Yeah, so but is that not instinct? They know.
But sure, what their instinct?
What is instinct? Yeah, I know. Yeah, what is it?
Instinct comes from awareness, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, collective awareness.
There's a thing Stuart Wilde used to say with regards to animals. This is particularly stuff that we have around domesticated animals, that they have a kind of awareness that is around us, that when, you know, that if they were left to their own devices, it kind of they don't have, that it, you know, they become in a sense aware of the awareness, if you want.
So it's like Toy Story, is it?
When you're in a room or whatever. So I was like saying, like, I would say there is a difference between my dog, who has come from a long line of domesticated, you know, dogs and been around humans for a long while, then a dog that has, you know, never been around, or an animal that's only ever been. I would think, but I mean, I don't know. If you go talk to people who work with animals in the wild, they would say the very distinct personalities, possibly. I don't know, you know. Maybe we just like to think that our little furry friend is more real, more conscious than, you know, because it's part of the family or something. But again, you get into, you know, it's easy then to dehumanize other animals. I know that's the wrong word. Or to kind of, it's all right to kill all the chickens. You know, fish don't think. Fish aren't aware of themselves. Let's eat them. You know what I mean? It's fine, eat them, but be aware that they might be aware of themselves too. Have a right to be here. It's tough. All of it's tough because it's like, I don't know, you know, like, and it's speculation, and it's, you know, that kind of thing where you would go like, if you are God and, you know, you're expressing your truth and all of this, that, you know, well, I'm expressing God's truth. And you go, yeah, but, you know, how do you know there's not a shadow in there somewhere? That, you know.
Well, why the fuck did you allow mosquitoes to evolve, you sick bastard? Yeah. What the fuck? Yeah. Are those, they have no purpose other than to annoy people and animals, you know, make them sick. Oh, maybe that's the reason, actually. They're here to make sick. Why did you create things that make people sick? Because there's too many of something. Okay, you're thinning out the crowd. Okay, I get that. Okay, I get that.
Well, you see, you're thinking, and that's the thing, you're thinking as a human. No, not even that. Yeah, you're thinking like how a human would have created this. You know, all this kind of thing. And I was kind of thinking about it, like, you know, when you're walking home from the shop or whatever, and you're after the person behind the shop has been a dick to you or whatever, or you embarrassed yourself, something happened, but you're just doing that over shop, and you just get so contracted into it that you're not even aware of walking home. You're not the whole thing. I was going, I think that's what's happening then. You know, Tommie is going overthinking about something that happened at the shop on the way home, that he's contracted into this personality, and he's kind of can't get out of it. Not can't get out of it, because that sounds again like it's a trap, but it's a deep contracted thought or expression, or, you know, and then if you're in it so long, then you'll start, you know, you can't see anything else other than it. You know, it's like when someone's deep into jealousy, and all they can see is jealousy, you know, that everything the wife does is, it's, you know, something to do with, you know, having sex with the other man, whatever it is. It's like, it can, I suppose it's like a complex or something then. It's the same. Jung would say that anyway, that the complexes in our brains are what we are to consciousness. You know, that we are essentially a complex and bigger consciousness in the way that a shadow is what we have in our thing. So, I mean, that seems to make sense. But again, I can't prove it. I don't know.
Jesus, God has a lot of complexes then, huh?
A lot of problems.
That guy's fucked up, man. That guy's fucked up.
I wouldn't trust that dude at all. He's 8 million things that he's no idea what, and that's not even including the animals.
So you know why? This is why all the awakened people talk about love, because you need to handle them with such fucking care, because he's such a fucking basket case. You can't say, no, he's stuck in a rubber wall, just banging his head off the fucking wall, going,
mosquitoes. What was that about? What was that about?
This guy's fucking batshit, okay? But you have to be really, really, really nice, because otherwise he'll explode and he'll just invent like super hornet mosquitoes that'll eat babies, or they'll shoot babies with laser beams. Shoot babies that eat mosquitoes that eat babies that eat mosquitoes. It's a weird thing. It's very weird. It's all gone weird. Speaking of weird, Alejandro. So the documentary we watched this week is Alejandro Jodorowsky, and I know I'm not pronouncing that right, but that's as good as an Irish person. Jodorowsky. Polish name. Jodorowsky. He's born in Chile, 1929. Chile, in his 90s, which is amazing. He's still on the go. Still doesn't look it.
No, well, I mean, he doesn't look 25 either, but he definitely doesn't look like 93 or whatever he is. He's still going around.
Late 70s, I'd say.
And like, when you think of it that way, so being that I'm 44 now, like, that's another 50 years that you could get to do stuff if you're going to live that long. Part of me is excited by that. Part of me is horrified by that. It's like, really? But I mean, if you're still able to do what he's doing at 94, then, you know, great, I'll hang around for that. But if it's nappies and draining savings because they're going to throw you out of the old folks home, no thanks. Going to live in the field. Although maybe living in the field when you're 90 might be the fairy thing. Anyway, the documentary it's called Psychomagic. Well, it's kind of, he's explained at the beginning. It's Freud came up with psychotherapy, and Jung kind of continued that, and then this is Psychomagic. So it's working on, I suppose, your problems or your inner world, your complexes, your shadows, your demons, all the things that keep you awake at night and make you unhappy, and all the things that fuck up your relationships can be solved through an act of, can be helped. Through a ritual. Which,
but not like a Golden Dawn ritual, a public art kind of art performance. There's performance to it. Yeah, there's definitely a re-performance, or in the sense of some of it is definitely a recapitulation where you're redoing the same thing in a better way, in a more. I suppose an example would be to explain it would be that. So someone's mother died, say, in a helicopter accident, and meant to get to another place. This isn't in the documentary. This was in something I've seen on YouTube, and So Jodorowsky goes, right, so what you have to do to get over this is you have to hire a helicopter, you have to dress up as your mum, and you have to make the journey that she was unable to make. and deliver the poem that she was supposed to deliver.
Something, whatever it was, you have to finish the kind of thing. I was going, right, okay, and I really understand. Yes, and there was an awful lot of this documentary where I just going, this is insane. And then the next thing I would go, no, I think he's right. He's definitely there's something he's understanding that, and then it'd be the next one go, I'm going to touch your testicles. And you go, why is he touching people's testicles? And then you go, and then you can see the reaction your man has, and you go, all right, he really needed to touch that man's testicles. It's unbelievable.
I get it.
Because
my reaction after watching this was like, I want to join this man's church.
I'll be in your
front
cult.
And center. I will. Yeah. This sounds amazing. I would like to be a practitioner of psychomagic that helps people. Psychomagic or what did he call it? Yeah, psychomagic.
Psychomagic. Well, it's psychomagia. And it's well.
Sí, señor. Psychomagia, señor.
So it's Spanish in Chile, right? I'm going to say it's not much. It's Spanish, yeah.
No.
So it's what is it? It's Spanish. So psychomagia, then would be in his thing, yeah. Or
maybe cupping people's balls would be hard though.
Psychomagic.
Yeah. But then again, if I had to touch people's balls and it helped cure them, okay, I'm willing to take that on. You know, as long as they're consenting.
This is the thing.
There's no, all right.
Yeah. There's no, in a sense, set thing for any of this. He listens to the story, and it's the same as when he's doing the tarot card readings, whatever. He listens to the story, and then he makes. Okay, you have an interjection. I was going to say,
go ahead, finish.
Yeah. So it seems that he's kind of listening to what's going on, and then makes a prescription based solely on the story. You know, and that it's very tailored rather than like a set kind of process of you must publicly shame yourself or you must publicly do or whatever it is, kind of, you know, that there seems, well, when there are obviously elements in between that are kind of, because all problems are like there's elements of crossover and all the different things. But you're going to say that you just disagree? Or
no, I disagree, but something I noticed with him, because all right, this was crowdfunded, wasn't it? This film. There's lists of hundreds of names at the end of it. Special thanks to in tiny Latin font that no one can read. Backwards, mirrored as well. His tarot readings are class. They're actually brilliant. So it's one of the things about the crowdfunding was if you gave so much in a Patreon or whatever it was donation, he would do a tarot reading for you, and then these were made public as well. But there's a couple of them from women, and I shouldn't be laughing because, well, I'm only laughing because I'm embarrassed. I'm a man. Where he'll tell them, right, look, your problem is you've been looking for the wrong type of lover. This is why you're alone. You're looking for an idealized man.
Your father, an ideal version of your father.
Yeah, there you go, something like that. Yeah. So he'll say, so what I prescribe to you then is you take your father's favourite shirt or buy one who like it, burn it in the fire. But then what you need to do is you need to get your period blood and you need to write your name on a business card and use this as your business card.
Yeah.
Okay, Alejandro. I'm sorry, no. That's where I draw the line there because, like, there's a lot of period blood in this fucking film.
There's a lot. Yeah, there is. Yeah,
there really is a lot. Like, there is pints, gallons, even. What's bigger than gallons? Fucking mad. Especially for the Catholic, well, not Catholic, but a lapsed Catholic like me who's like, period. What the fuck is that? Like, whoa,
you're like
what? How did they not die? What? You're leaking.
Here's the thing. I have two things about the period thing because I somehow knew it would come up. Having recently read Peter Gray's book about apocalyptic witchcraft and the Red Goddess and stuff, there's an awful lot of period stuff in it. An awful lot of period blood being, you know, a witch's, you know, how magical it is and stuff like that, and how it has that whole history in witchcraft and how it's kind of in a sense been demonized, for want of a better word, you know, and how to the point that we, you know, that kind of reaction. I know you're slightly lampooning it, but slightly not. You know, that sort of reaction, dirty, filthy, and where everything is kind of, you know, the same with the, you know, where we have the eating the cum cakes and all that kind of stuff, where it's just because it's so not because we use some shit. Yeah, it's so bizarre, but it's and so I could go right from a witchcraft witchcraft point of view, whatever, the period blood or whatever, right? I can completely get on board with it, or I can understand it, or I can see the whole kind of thing. I can also see it from a symbolic point of view.
You could just prick your finger. You could just prick your finger. It's
well, you see, well, it's not though, isn't it?
Well, then again, it's the egg dying though, so it's not.
Yeah,
actually,
and
it's the same blood, but it's different. No, yeah.
Yeah, it's
I get it. I totally get it.
No, I know you do. I know you do. But it's just like, but also apart from that, I can also see the symbolic thing of it. Whereas if you're told something has been, is disgusting, and to hide away and to not talk about it, and all that, and to reclaim your womanhood and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So I get it. It's still, and what I liked about this documentary is that it kept poking at those things in me where I was going, why do I think this is bizarre? Why? Yeah. What is it about this? Like, look at these 4 guys naked hugging each other. Why am I a wee bit uncomfortable with that? And it's not that it's like, I think it's not that weird, but there's something, but there's a couple of rebirths where where this older couple will give rebirth to younger people, and your mind immediately wants to go, oh, come on, lads, this is funny, and then go, why is this funny? What is it about this fun? Because it's not funny. But we have this kind of social construct and the thing, what's allowable, what's funny, what we do, whereas, which is, in a sense, really bad for us, because an awful lot of what people needed in this is just to be held and touched, and to have a surrogate parent tell them they're nice, or I love you, or just to be, and where we can go, so this rebirth, and we can laugh, oh look, they're breastfeeding with some milk.
Well then, what Jodorowsky would argue back to me then is that, so look, but the thing I was saying was, or what I'm saying is that he does use this period blood thing a lot. He uses it in this film. Yeah.
In a few of the Taros, yeah.
And he uses it in the Taros stuff as well. So it, the kind of childish part of me, or the skeptic part of me, is saying that, well, he's doing this because number one, it freaks people out. Number two, there is a ritual thing to it that does make sense, that you've just spoken about. And so,
it's to break the taboo and that kind of thing, which seems to be an awful lot.
That's what I'm looking for, here. It's the taboo-ness of it, which, I mean, I laughed so much during this film, so I did, because I love laughing at those public taboos, because, I know myself, I'm a coward, I wouldn't.
Wouldn't do it. Yeah, absolutely wouldn't do it. An awful lot of it. Yeah.
Or I certainly wouldn't do it on film. If I went to Jodorowsky and says, look, man, I have this problem, can you fix it? And he's like, right, Spud, look, man, you need to do X, Y, Z, but then you need a pint of jizz, and I need you to paint a donkey on your wall. It's like, okay, cool, I'll do that, but I'm
going to film you and put it on the internet.
You're not filming me, man. No fucking way. It's between me and you and the $10,000 I had to give for this consultation.
For it, But it's like, because there's another one, the testicle one is in a church, whatever, and it's to do with your man feels emasculated, whatever. But it's not just that. That's not the the whole thing was then 2 guys come in, he strips down, they paint him gold in a church. I don't know how they got permission to do it, because there's paint fucking everywhere on the this at least 1,000-year-old church floor, this immaculate thing. And then you go, right, okay, now you have to walk out and walk around like a golden angel, in your sandals or whatever.
And he's reciting like a play or something, isn't he? It's fucking brilliant.
There's a great thing where in that, I think it's in that, where he's going, say something true, Jodorowsky saying, say something true, and your man just goes, I am here, and I'm going, I would never have thought to have said that, but that's brilliant. And say it louder, I am here, and he's going, fuck yeah. It's like that bit in Chasing the Present documentary where your man goes to the scream therapy with the Northern Irish psychologist, whatever. He just starts screaming, and he can just he's wanted to do that for 20 years, and hasn't been able to do it. And it's like, there's a really sad one in it though, and we were talking about this on private and Discord as well. This old woman who's
it's one of the last ones, isn't it? The second last one, She's late
70s, or she's old, but she definitely looks 20 years older than Jodorowsky does. Anyway, she looks like if it had been seen, if this is Alejandro's mother and he's going to visit her, you go, all right, okay, I can get behind that. But she's just
she's old, man. No, she's 88.
Right, okay, then. So, but the same, still younger than him, which is a testament, I suppose, to his good genes. But she's really kind of bitter about things, about life, and about how it worked out, and how decisions she made around marrying people, marrying a husband who she doesn't seem to have loved, but she did it for circumstance, thought she'd have a better life. She's not really into kind of the stuff that's going on in the world. She feels like there's a thing where she's talking about immigrants and that she doesn't care, but it just seems to be something she's saying rather than she has a big point to make about immigrants, whatever. She's just going, I don't give a shit about anything that's going on. You know, I have a lovely flat around me, and you know, and who cares? And what it is, and you can just, she's so devastatingly unhappy, and you know, let down by life or whatever.
She has 101 things to be unhappy about, and the thing is that each one of those 101 things isn't the thing. No. She's just unhappy. That's it. Yeah, that's it. You know, and he comes up, and I kind of got the sense, because he says that he met her twice. I kind of got the sense from him that he didn't really know how to treat her for a while.
What I got was that he wasn't there the first time, that it was just the film crew interviewing her, and then he turns up. That's what I got. Maybe I'm wrong in that. That's just kind of what But I think that might make more sense, and which would be good, because it means he's not just spewing out something off the cuff, like he's actually thinking about this kind of stuff. But either way, it's the second visit where he sorts her out, or at least appears to. And again, he just brings her over and goes, come listen to my heart, and he's holding her, and he's you know, just, he's explained to her that we're going to sort this out, we're going to, you know, get it. She's going, oh, I don't believe it. Not that she doesn't say I don't believe it, I find that hard to believe, you know, I'm not, or whatever. And you can kind of tell, he says, we're going to meet someone, and you can, at that you're kind of going, he doesn't really fully know what's going to happen either, but he kind of has faith in the thing that, no, I know there's something here, and I know we have to do this, and when we do this, I'll know what it is. Yeah. And he just says, go and get some water. So he's some vague notion of something, but he seems to be tapped into a very different thing than I've ever tapped into. But, you know, a real thing, something like he's not absurdist in the sense of, it's not like a Salvador Dali or, you know, some sort of, it's not just weirdness for weirdness sake. It's not making people walking down the street because it looks good, or it's funny, or it's mental. Oh, it's not weird. There's, every single thing is a symbolic thing, and it makes sense rather than just, you know, it's not just absurdism.
So you can tell he knows his fucking Freud and Jung stuff, because he's his stuff on symbolisms. Like he does the thing that, you know, Carl Jung. I don't know if Carl Jung came up with it, I suppose, but that's what he's kind of known for, that the unconscious can't speak, so it can only work in symbols, and that's why your dreams are full of symbols, because it's your subconscious or other or whatever is inside you is trying to tell you something, you know. Or it's not trying to tell you something, it's just having a crack. Can be that as well. Yeah, dreams right can just be fun too. They don't have to be. You know.
So it's the language of like left brain, right brain stuff, where we've the, you know, all that stuff. Whether people are still undecided whether that's a thing or not, but it's a handy analogy or whatever.
So you can really, like you can tell he knows his stuff from has learned a lot from Freud and Jung, because his symbolist stuff that he uses is it's on the button, because he sees, right, that's your problem, I can see your problem now, is right, so let's build some symbols around that, and let's fucking tear those symbols down, or let's break them down, or whatever. Because like there's one where he has this French couple who are both of them are in a pretty much an unhappy marriage, because the girl has had go through traumatic experiences, and he's kind of like, well, I mean, I'm with this one and I don't think she loves me, and as well, I lost my dad when I was 9, and I still think I'm fucking 9, like, you know, and chap's in his 50s, like, at least, and it's like two kind of lost people who have just kind of fallen for each other. It doesn't seem it seems like he loves her a bit more than she loves him, but at the same time they're like, you know, what the hell do we do here? And so in the end of the ritual, they kind of walk through Paris with a chain, ankle bracelet, with like a ball and chain thing without the ball. They walk through Paris like in dead silence, just walking, because they're getting rid of this. Yeah, they're showing that they're carrying this baggage, and by doing this, they're getting rid of it, you know. And then at the end, it kind of just shows them kissing and walking off in separate directions, and they're like, "Oh, they did break up." Well, I mean,
she kind of says, like, "I have two options here. I can stay here, or I can leave. But at least I know what I want. You know, I understand that thing." And you can kind of see your man going, "Could you see you leave?" Not quite, but I kind of go, well, like. it like keep referring to it as like the relationship or something, that like a third party, which I understand that's a psychotherapy move as well, that you can talk about something by externalizing. You talk about your marriage as the marriage rather than my wife or whatever it is. So I wondered if it was that, but it was kind of, she got to the point, goes, yeah, no, I understand, like I've dropped all this or whatever, and I'm going to leave, or I can stay or whatever. So I assumed it did. But there's a really kind of interesting that I got from that was kind of like going that if you come to this relationship in a damaged kind of place looking to be fixed or whatever it is, and then you're lost, or you get rid of that or sorted out, then you're not the person who should be in that relationship. The person who should be in that relationship, in a sense, is the damaged person, because that's what it should be. And it's highly unlikely that if you've solved this, that you should be in that relationship, unless the other person equally grows in the same. But they seem, and given that they walk away, they seem to have two different directions. Yeah. So it's just, again, you kind of go, great. And I don't think I'm reading too much into that, because I don't think I'm reading enough into what he's doing. That's he seems to be, like come back to the old woman, just to finish that story. He obviously cops on very, very quickly, or has a thing that she feels that she's either not needed, that there's no reason for it, or that like the hope, it's been pointless. So he goes, right, we're going to go out to the park, and she says, oh yeah, I go there a lot, whatever. And then he goes, here's the person, here it is. And it's just enormous, huge, amazing tree. Like, I mean, geez, how could you not love this tree? And to have a bottle of water that, I don't, like, did he know what he needed it for? Who knows? And her whole thing is now she has to come in every day and she's to water the tree. So she now has a purpose. She has a friend. She's someone who needs her. She's all this, someone who, I suppose in a sense she can, it's not going to talk back to her or disappoint her. It's a fucking tree. Like, how could a tree ever disappoint you? And it's just like you say, maybe there's some bad evil trees out there. I've never met one personally, but I'm open to the possibility. But
Hawthorns, they're all evil.
They're bad. Yeah,
wankers they are.
Oh, yeah.
I was cutting a couple yesterday. Fuckers, so they are.
But you can see immediately in her, and like you don't know, like if you go back 6 months later, what her story is. But in the moment, at least, it gave her the possibility to realise that, it's not all this. But I'd say the hug and listen, and being pulled into the heart and the closeness and all that was as equally as healing as the water and the.
You know what, as well
tree.
though, like it's the same as just the whole Kumari thing we did a while ago. It's just people just need to be fucking listened to. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah.
It's sad, isn't it, that like all people need is just a fucking friendly ear, or not even a friendly ear, like a psychologist or psychotherapist, an objective ear.
Yeah. Like, have no stake in your story at all. Who don't care.
If we could just listen to each other and not be judging each other when we do listen to our friends and family, the world would be fucking so much better. Yeah. Just shut up and listen to Spud.
But I think that's. I think we're. That's one of the big things of why there's the kind of mental health crisis that we have, is that we have so many things that you're allowed to be, not allowed to be, and clearly, while capitalism in its form that we have now has raised, so many people out of poverty, it also seems to be driving us all a wee bit nutty. The
after effects of this pandemic are going to be.
Oh man, like my nephew, has only ever seen his parents since he was born. I don't know, and he's a year and a half, whatever it is, or a year, or just over a year, or whatever. And he's only going to get to see his grandparents now in a week's time. So I mean, that's not good. That's not that. That's
God, that's going to be a lot of pressure on the grandparents not to let them down.
They better have a great present. I'm telling you, they better be really, really good. But even to people like my wee man, he's the most sociable person you'll ever meet. He'll be fine. But the people who found that hard, I would find that hard as a kid, to be sociable. And if you've been kind of pulled out of that for a year or whatever, it's certainly going to have impact. And we won't know for a while. The mental health impact of being locked away with an abusive spouse or abusive parents or imagine being in an apartment block for that first lockdown or whatever it was, and that you literally can't leave that little tiny flat that we all would have lived in at some point in our lives, and it's like
living up on the 19th floor, and you're like,
or something like
how do I press the button here without dying?
With a flatmate that you hate, or whatever it is, But it's like, so it's great kind of this. Because I remember there's a thing that came back to me a while ago. I don't know how long it is, because time's gone weird since the pandemic. But I did this thing where it was like, I called it Stations of Your Own Cross, or Stations of Your Cross. Where it was going around and revisiting key moments, places where key moments of my life kind of occurred when I was young or whatever. And kind of, it started off as I just noticed I was doing it. Oh, that's interesting, because that's the house I used to live in, and now I'm here. And then yesterday I was going, all right. So then I go, right, I'll keep going with this, and I paid a visit to all the kind of significant points. And it's kind of a very similar thing in that's a very Psychomagic thing to have done, to redo a kind of a loop. And there's a lot of that kind of in. The problem, I suppose, technically from to get about this documentary is it's a series of stories over and over and over again. There's no really overarching storyline. There's no in depth into his psychology or his reasons behind it. It's like Jim and Peter have a problem. He fixes the problem. Mary has a problem. He fixes the problem. Yeah.
Like at the start, he tells us to camera that like he came up with Psychomagia. It's been given to him over 50 years through initiatory messages. Like, cool. We're going to see loads of videos of fucking Alejandro spacing out here and telling us. And he doesn't tell us a fucking single thing about any of these messages.
No, but
I find that annoying because...
Yeah, I assume all of that's in the movies. Like, I've only seen Holy Mountain and... What's the other one I watched? El Topo. So, I mean, the other one seems to be more... Because he does intersperse them with an awful lot of his movies. Like, I mean, the mad stuff is in it. I assume. I don't know. Like, I also would have liked to have him talk about it a bit more.
Well, what's in the book then? Have you read the book?
I read the book a number of years ago, and I got it again. I don't remember any of this, so I am currently reading it again. But it's unscribed.
But I presume in the book then he goes into far more details rather than just
and the tarot stuff he does it too as well. Like he's a psychomagic approach to tarot as well. But there's a manual as well. There's the Psychomagic manual of how you can go through this stuff as well.
Awesome.
So, I mean, and awesome.
Like, when I was watching as well, like it was just. I'm looking up this fella here. I've mentioned this fella a million times. People have bought this book, thankfully, because I've mentioned it so much. Robert A. Johnson's Inner Work. Where he talks about he was one of Jung's, golden boys or whatever, and. He's written plenty of books about Jung, but the Inner Work one fucking totally changed my mind on dreams, dream symbolism and all that stuff. And he has a thing in the book where like, where you do active imagination. And this is what Jodorowsky is doing as well. It's like when you have an active imagination session and you maybe get to the root of a problem, or you find kind of where it's pointing at. Sorry, no, I'll change that. When you do get to the root of a problem and you want to close it off, he said then you need to ritualize it. So I don't know, for example, Spud finds out that he had a bad relationship with his cousin, okay? So he gets to the bottom of where that came from and why there's a blockage in it and why it was always a problem. Okay, and let that go now. I know what that is. That's part my problem, part his problem. I can move on from that now. Okay, how do I ritualize this? Okay, so my name's Spud. So I'll take a potato and I'll cut it in half and I'll bury it in the backyard. So, and you just say, right, I'm going to do it on a full moon because woo, why not? Let's ritualize the shit out of this, And then just go out. But he says that's really important with these inner work, the active imagination things. Like to put a proper close on it instead of just doing it in your head. Like you need to show your mind. Show the different parts of your subconscious or archetypes or whatever the fuck is in your head, that you're doing something that shows that this problem is done with, and this is exactly what this film is. It's exactly what the film is.
Yeah, it's
brilliant. I loved every minute of this.
Yeah, I did. I had such a great journey with it because it was like going, oh, this is so insane, and then just question why I think it's insane, and then going, look, this is just so amazing. But I would love to see another documentary where it's. So, the Grant Morrison talking with gods, only it's, Alejandro. It's, there's a lot of talking head stuff, and a great interview, getting in there, getting all the details of, why exactly what is going through is because at one point there's definitely a method, because he sits down with one of the guys and he has a big sheet and it looks like he's even like doing a binding in the kind of the magia sense of it. There's little stick men and there's loads of different sections and he's talking things out and you can tell they've been there for a long while and he does come to put all that in. I'd love to have seen more of that, like the actual working out. Maybe it's in the work.
You know what? Yeah. That's the $10,000 course. isn't it? That's what that is. You know what I mean?
You have to pay
it's like I'm reading this what do you call it, being superhuman, whatever, Joe Dispenza. Which is a weird name for a person. A dispenser of Joes. Is that what this?
Yeah, it's like a Pez dispenser. That's his real name.
That's his real name. Like
I assume it is.
Joe. I know Americans have crazy names and that, but like a dispenser, really? Like, is he trying to pull our leg here with this?
We see like the dispenser could be the equivalent of Win from, or like a McCavitt or something. It's like the Spanish or the Portuguese. Yeah, dispenser. Yeah,
but I don't know. Yeah. It's just I'm just a bit skeptical of his name because like it could be. The great thing after reading that fucking that Underhill Mystic book is that any other book now I ever read is just going to be so fast. Just like after getting through that, like and when something's written in more and more modern language, you just fucking fly through pages. Yeah. But you know what? The bad thing about the book is, and like it's quite good in a way that like it starts off with this kind of idea of basic sigil magic. You know, is what it starts off with.
Okay.
And then the quantum stuff and it's a bit of reality transurf and yada yada. But like, so much of the book is just him talking to his workshops, and I'm like, fuck you, man! Stop trying to sell me your fucking workshops. I bought the fucking book. Stop trying to add on shit. You fucking and look, I knew I was going to be off to a rocky start with the book because when I opened it, the first like praise blurb thing is from fucking Tony Robbins, and you're like, fuck's sake.
Right, here we go. There we go.
God
Master
damn
salesman.
it! I'm just going to I'm just going to be sold stuff. I'm going to be sold. Like, shut the fuck up! I've bought your book. An awful lot of those books are just essentially promotional material for the courses because that's where the money is. That's what and it's like. I remember years ago, my dad, he was so disappointed. I must have been a teenager, but he's reading this book on meditation or whatever, and it was all about. I'll not tell you what type of meditation till the end, but the whole thing, and I was going building up how great it was, and then he's going, right, the end has to be how to tell you how to do it. And then it was, if you want to learn transcendental meditation, book an appointment with your, and he's like, you could see he was crushed by the experience, as you should be, like if you get to the whole way through. How dare people do that though, you know?
Yeah.
So it's disgusting. Jesus Christ, you buy a book for the title and you're not given the stuff, and it's just like, just get to the fucking point, man, will you? No, I hate it. Yeah, or I mean, I can understand, or I'm okay with people like write the book and then go, and I have a course, whatever, but not, it's just, and essentially it's everything in the book, only do it over a weekend, or whatever, you know what I mean? It's not that it's kind of, here's the book, and if you really want to know what the secret is, you have to come to this course. I hate that shit. Yeah, look, come on, look, look, if Joe Dispenza came to town and look, here's 100 quid or whatever, I'd go to the fucking workshop. Of course I would. Definitely not 100 quid. Won't be 100 quid. 100 quid. You know what I mean? Well then he won't be very busy in Poland then. No, I can't imagine. Take it. Well, I can pay my mortgage for the next 2 months, or I can go meet this American with the fake fucking name. Who you have just to invest in yourself, though. You have to invest in yourself. No. Because it's not the workshops I have a problem with. It's just that the book. It's just that it's mentioned so many times that the book is a fucking advert for the workshops, rather than it being this is the teaching. I'm also giving workshops. That's a better approach. Cool. Yeah, that's cool. It's not how you become a millionaire, though. Yeah. If anyone does want to get in on him, there's a couple of really good interviews with him on Aubrey Marx's podcast, whatever that's called. There's probably a name for that. But if you get to find them, they're the most viewed podcasts on that channel. So just going to, sort by most viewed, and they're top 2 or 3 or whatever. I don't mind. It depends. It's like Joe back in the day. It's the Aubrey. I can listen to him. It depends on his guest. Absolutely. Of course. Sometimes I just can't have it. Yeah. There's what's the guy you like? The rap guy. Why can't I think of his name? The most famous person in the world. He released an album recently and wasn't happy that it got released. He was part of the Kardashians. Terrible album. Yeah, I don't like him in a long time now. His music's gone to shit. He's a huge fan of Alejandro and has the whole part of one of his. There's great kind of part of one of his tour sets is the Holy Mountain, and so he obviously wants to meet Jodo, and Jodo said, well, so to come up to me and goes, this guy wants to meet you, and he's going, I have no idea who he is. So I don't know what the story is, but he meets him and he goes, oh, well, okay, like you're kind of cool or whatever. And he says, and what do you want? And I says, I give him an idea.
that's as a present. So I handed him an idea and he was delighted. I was going, wow. I was going to Kanye West and go, here's an idea for you. And Kanye West not going, I'm God. Do you not know why I was God? Actually accepting the idea. But yeah, it seems they get on well, and there's but like he's had a huge influence on more than people know. Like, I mean, John Lennon paid for one of his movies. Well, he paid for the Holy Mountain.
Holy Mountain, didn't he?
Yeah, and your man who he was, I can't think of his name now, but he was the manager of the Beatles at the time. But he kind of tried to can the Holy Mountain and tried to get it not to be released, and was going to then only tried to have it released after Jodorowsky was dead. Well, I mean, you'd be waiting a fucking while for that, as it turned out.
Still waiting.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, he's like, if John Lennon was on the map, this was after his first movie. It was after El Topo. Although they found his very first movie that he did as a kind of a student. It's a silent movie that turned up there recently. He's 11 movies altogether. One of them is about elephants. That is just a very strict kind of story about elephants, not anything weird. And people kind of dismiss it as going, well, I don't know, why did he do this? We've no idea. Which is probably the most, if you watch it, it probably has the most symbolic structure to it, that he just, it's disguised as a normal movie. And then there's... I've
is there like a joke? Is there like a Joe Campbell fucking hero's journey with like one elephant or something?
No, it's just like it's called Tusk. So I mean, you can check it out. The one that you should check out if you haven't is Jodorowsky's Dune, which is the documentary about him trying to make the film before David Lynch made the film, which will probably get shown now because Dune's coming out again later this year. So there's kind of and he keeps going. Oh, it's going to flop. It's going to be shit. Of course, that he thinks his version of it would have been the most greatest thing in the world. And who am I to doubt him? It would be weird though. But as if David Lynch is as well as David Lynch.
Never.
Yeah.
I think I did watch Lynch's, but I don't remember it.
Endless Poetry is his latest movie. It's there's a lot of it in the documentary shown in it. It's kind of there's a very dreamlike quality to all the stuff, and you just have to let go of narrative, right? You just have to, in the same way, like at least the Holy Mountain has a kind of there's a structure to it. It's the alchemic journey to the reveal that it's all not to spoil the ending, but there's a reveal at the end that is the reveal of the mystic and all that kind of stuff. But it's like, you can tell that the Endless Poetry is a psychomagic act. It's about his life, and it's about him, reliving and probably changing stuff for the better. Even by showing the hardship, showing all the different things. Like I assume there's stuff in it where he is, made the helicopter journey dressed up as his dead mother to deliver the poetry at the end, or whatever it is. Thing. And like there's bits where his son is in it and plays a part, or whatever. And you can tell that at certain points of the film, Jodo just comes out as Jodo. And so, just it's there. And the characters can't see him, but he's there, and he's getting in on it. So it's like, that's wonderful, but you'd certainly have to be in the frame of mind for it, and
nice.
Yeah. But, and visually amazing. Visually amazing. Like, yeah. He's
there was an attempt to cancel him. Did you read about this?
Oh, no, I don't know this.
Apparently years ago, there was one of his films, like a Western, one of his early films.
Yeah, El Topo. Yeah, the first.
And he said that during doing the early press for it, the promotion for it, he said that as part of the film, he raped the female lead.
Oh, right.
Jodorowsky said this. And at the time, no one took it seriously. It's like, yeah, you fucking mad bastard. Yeah, what are you on about, But apparently then, a couple of years ago, there was an attempt to cancel him. And he's like, no, look, come on. What the fuck are you on about? Like, I only said that for promotion because it's like no one knew who I was.
Right.
People seem to believe that. I want to believe that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But, trouble with something, isn't it? No. Yeah, I mean, there's...
Well, the lady hasn't said anything. I presume she was chased down to give her version, and she never said anything. So I presume it's not. I presume it's bullshit. You know?
I'll have to look into it, though. I mean, it's not worse, than hearing... But, I mean, it's that kind of... There always seems to be something. Like, I mean, that's the thing about, putting people on pedestals and, all this, is that you kind of... You don't allow them to be human. No, I'm not saying raping someone is an acceptable thing by anyone to do.
Dig up, Tommie, dig up.
But it's kind of, in a sense, what I mean is more that it's like, why did I expect him to be a perfect person? That's more, you know what I mean? Because I'm sure he's I don't know, like maybe, you know, doesn't really get on with his ex-wife or whatever it is. I don't know. I'm sure he's not the nicest person at home when he has his issues. But
it's like even my thing with like I think he has a thing with period blood, okay? Yeah. And like, okay, is that my bias putting that on it? Because I think period blood is, you know.
Well, I tell you, if you read Peter Gray's books, that he has it's the same thing. Exactly to the same level as Jodorowsky has, as have other kind of witchcraft. More female though, in fairness.
But also like there's the other side of that coin. Is that like, is it just a kind of like how to explain this? It's like, oh, this is a taboo, so we need to break it down, rather than just being, no, it's just a period. Like, get over it. You know what I mean? Like, stop making such a big deal out of it.
Yeah, or both. You know, why not both? Too? Yeah. But he's definitely, because his other stuff is taboo breaking, and there is that sense of
it's like that. It's like the
publicly
thing of,
having to let go of something, you know. And so I mean, there is that element to it. Yeah.
But it's like the thing of like, well, it's a taboo because everyone just says it's a taboo, and it's like the thing a while ago. I remember telling you about like in publicly, Polish men are homophobic, right? There was a huge poll did a while ago, a huge poll done in Poland, that it's only publicly that people are homophobic. Actually, if you give them, when they do the survey at home, and they say, well, I'm actually only homophobic because my neighbours, and everyone is, 70% of the people are saying it. So it's a taboo only because we say it's a taboo. Actually, it's not taboo at all. It's just a period. You know?
Yeah. But yeah, so then doing the thing publicly is the important bit, because
that's true, actually. Yeah.
Because if you're at home and you're fine, and it's going out in the street with the period blood all over you, I go, fuck you.
You're dead right there. Yeah. I see it. Yeah. Look, I think this is class, and I think a lot of people benefit from it if they kind of faced up to their demons and did something. Look, you don't have to go down to the main fucking square where you're from.
Sometimes you do, though. Sometimes you do.
No, but if it. Well, it depends on the thing, you know what I mean? Like the stuff in the film, there's very little of it that I would agree to film myself doing, like the birth stuff. No one wants to see me naked. Nobody. No. Do you know what I mean?
No. Or me already.
Maybe a couple of people do, but not on the podcast.
Well, I'm not
going to take off my clothes.
No one wants to see me naked. I wouldn't even qualify that.
I think it's just a great form of therapy. I think it is.
But you are aware, though, if you go to Alejandro, that you're definitely getting covered in period blood. That's going to be part of your journey. There's no fucking question about that. Town square, period blood, eating a cum cake. Can't be. That's what's happening to you, man.
Oh no, I don't have any shadows anymore. You see, I'm perfect now. I don't need any work. You know, I have transcended and descended. Transcended the mountain? Yeah, I've gone through the mountain. Fuck the mountain.
Right. The holy mountain, one might say.
The holy mountain. Gone straight through it, and I'm in the other side now, and everything's okay. Yeah. No, I'd love to go to him just for shits and giggles and see what he said, because it'd probably be some mammy stuff though, wouldn't it? Fucking hell. He'd make me do the birth thing. I wouldn't like that.
Oh yeah.
No. But that's the thing. I mean, you know, we're closeted Irish lads. We're not used to seeing willies and balls on telly.
Yeah. Exactly. There's one of the tarot ones. I don't think it's there anymore. One of the things that used to be on his YouTube is him just sitting completely in the nude, talking. Makes no mention of why he's in the nude. Just talk. Yeah. So the film is going to be all right. Yeah.
Awesome. Tell me more about the book as you read it again, because I'd like to know. I wrote something down here. He said he invented psychomagic to teach reason to the unconscious. Psychoanalysis is only treated by words, and his thing brings. Sorry, obviously he didn't say it. This is my interpretation of it. Psychoanalysis is only treated by words. His thing, so psychomagic, brings the internal issues out into the world. I think that's such a savage idea. Like, it's brilliant. Rather than just sitting in a room talking about your problems, because you need to go back every day for 6 months. He's like, no, let's fucking ritualize this shit with the symbols of it, and we'll work it out. And like all of the post afternoons. What am I saying? Post interviews. What the fuck is a post afternoon? Evening. I have no idea.
All the evenings that are mentioned in this documentary.
I keep making this mistake on this fucking podcast, man. I keep drinking coffee in the morning, and I'm not supposed to drink coffee until about 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening to give me a pep. But I drink coffee before I come on. I get loaded about an hour into the thing, and I just start rambling. Stop drinking coffee, Spud, will you? Ritualize it.
Heroin. Just hit straight dick to heroin just before the podcast. Very different podcast.
Yeah, but like I said, I think it's such an interesting thing, a really, really interesting thing. And that was it, the post interviews. Everyone says, all of them who are interviewed, because not all of them are interviewed in fairness, they're all like, yeah, everyone's cool. This is great. That issue's gone to bed.
Yeah, but not, my life is perfect, everyone's great. Just go, no, this has allowed me to have a proper opening, and I understand it and all that and thing. And even the guy at the beginning who was like, got the milk poured all over him, which is another very classic witchcraft thing, is the milk thing. I'm surprised it wasn't eggs pulled out at any stage, but he was kind of like, he wanted to die. He was a heroin addict. He was off to all this kind of stuff, and you could see him like, I've actually found someone who I'm allowing to love me, and and I'm not wrecking it, and it's so strange. I kind of go like, it's because it's such a simple thing, you get someone to love or whatever. Change his life, absolutely change his life. But he's still saying like, it's not the end. I still have to do all this work. I still have to, every day is the thing. But it's just, it's different. It's and that was 6 months or something later. But yeah, not all of them get it. The couple get it. The old woman didn't. I would like to see her, but I just kind of maybe go back 6 months and go, the tree's not been watered in a few days, lads. What's going on here? And then the musician's son, I was wondering, is that Jodo's son? I don't think it is though in the end, because I know he's a musician. He actually does the soundtrack to his dad's. He does his own stuff.
They talk about his dad. His dad was famous or something, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's how I was carrying. At one point I was going, it's just been really clever. I was going, no, it isn't. No, it's not. Yeah, but it's a documentary.
It's class. Yeah, it's good.
That probably you could split up into episodes. There's no bigger kind of story going on. It's like Jim and his cure, Frank and his cure, Mary and Joe and the cure. That's the setup to it. And really, really good. And it's challenging in a really fun way. It's like,
it's funny as well though. Like, you will laugh a lot.
Yeah.
Because it's ludicrous, the stuff that he makes people do. Like fucking ludicrous, breaking plates off people's chests, and remember he puts like the kind of the jelly black worms or something, whatever the fuck they are.
Yeah, buries a guy alive and then gets all the vultures to eat him. And it's like,
buzzards.
The buzzards.
Buries the guy alive, then puts like this big plastic dish over him, and then like just throws like liver and stomachs and offal and whatever, and then like this is the fucking French countryside. Obviously, like 50 buzzards are going to come down. Like, what food? And could you imagine being the guy? You're like,
Yeah, and Adam just goes, enough, and all the buzzards fuck off immediately. My power over words. I'd love to see a couple of the ones at the filmed where the people go. Alejandro goes, well, I want you to go out onto the street and choke a chicken and masturbate over your mother's image or whatever. And just go, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, no, I'm out.
I'm not doing it. I'm going to stick with this the depression. Thanks very much. You're all right, man.
I mean, there's no way, but I think it would be more difficult to make that film in, say, Ireland or England.
No chance. Imagine trying to make that film in Ireland. You what? You want me to do what? Here.
How much am I getting paid for this? No. You gave me money.
Yeah. Tarot cards. Fuck's sake, tarot cards. Jesus Christ. The fuck's wrong with you? With your weird foreign name.
The thing, if you had the chain around your ankle walking through Dublin, you'd have all the local scroats and their BMXs coming up and fucking pulling it and trying to fucking break your leg and stuff. Like, no, you just never get away with it.
Yeah, your chain would definitely be stolen. It'd be taken from you. Gone. Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, tell me more about that book when you're done with it. Because if there's more about the methodology, I'd like to read it.
It's on Scribd, so I mean, if you want to, and the manual as well.
Sure, I'll have a read of it myself then.
I think it's cheap on Kindle anyway. It's only like £6 or something.
We could become priests and be able to cure people. That's
Yeah,
touch people's balls, men's balls. Well, no, sorry.
Anyone's balls.
No, it is people's now, isn't it? Because women can have balls now. Yeah, women. That's okay. I'm cool with that. Whatever.
Yeah, imagine you could just do whatever you want, and you go charge people. Just go, yes. I need to lick your eyeball. Yeah. That's just I'm sorry, but if you want to get better, then you will drink this glass of vomit that represents your mother. And someone goes, Tommie, you're not really good at this psychomagic. You're just doing weird stuff. You need to get this lipstick that's actually Pritt stick and superimpose lips over your mouth for a week. Quiet you and stay quiet. Yeah, good thing I didn't invent Psychomagic. It wouldn't work quite as well. I don't think. Be a lot of lawsuits, a lot of unhappy people. Yeah, definitely in prison, no question about it.
Maybe that's why he doesn't give the recipe away, because he'd have fuckwits like me and you messing with people, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh God, poor old Alejandro. I need to watch more of his films, and because I think he's the man. I love the terror stuff.
Definitely watch that documentary. It was on Netflix, but it's someone actually posted it in the Discord. In the Alejandro, the Dune one, So but I think it's like a YouTube. Sometimes on YouTube there's like 6 different subtitles going on at the one time. So I mean, there's other places to watch it, but it's definitely on. Was on Netflix anyway at one point, because I'm pretty sure that's where I watched it. So.
Sound.
Yeah.
Right then.
Right. Bye.
Bye.
We used to have better endings.